Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Thursday, the 7th of January, 2021. I hope you were well, COVID-free, and healthy, and that your needs are being met today. Double blessings on those who risk their lives every day to save the lives of others during this COVID pandemic, in healthcare facilities, healthcare workers all over the country and all over the world. Also, blessings upon those who also risk their lives driving 18-wheel trucks through hazardous weather during this pandemic to also make sure that we get basic necessities all over the country. We take them for granted because if we go into a supermarket and it was empty of food, people will be panicking within a week. So double blessings on them as well. So there was a basketball game last night. And this game involved our New York Knicks against the Utah Jazz. You remember the beginning, before the season started, we did a series of videos. Not only we talked about possible free agents, we talked about possible draft picks. And we also talked about our expectations for the Knicks. And if you recall, one of the things we talked about was that because of Tom Thibodeau, and that in fact we have often said that the biggest acquisition the Knicks made this offseason was Tom Thibodeau and the staff of coaches that they got along with him, like Kenny Payne and Johnny Bryant and Mike Woodson especially. These were the biggest acquisitions off season that were going to improve the Knicks. Whereas a lot of people were telling us, well, the Knicks don't have any talent and, they need to acquire a star and all of this garbage. We had the talent. We have NBA players. We just needed a coach and a coaching staff and a development team, if you recall. We also talked about with Tom Thibodeau, we were going to have an elite defense, which we haven't really seen since the 54-win season under Mike Woodson, when the Knicks won 54 games and Carmelo Anthony and Tyson Chandler was Defensive Player of the Year. Carmelo Anthony was on a scoring rampage that had him in MVP conversation, and the Knicks won 54 games. And that was 2013, and we haven't seen any defense since then. And prior to that even, we hadn't seen defense on that level for from 2013 to from about 2001, 2002, when Jeff Van Gundy was coaching the Knicks. So that being the case, there was going to be a change. As of today, the Knicks are third in the NBA in points allowed. The Knicks are seventh in overall defensive rating in the NBA. The Knicks are number one in guarding the opponent's three-point shot. And they're number four in overall defensive percentage. I expected, as I recall, saying the Knicks were going to be improved and be between 10 and 13. Now, we still got a lot of season left, but I can't see them dropping off too much from these numbers. They'll be in the top 10 in defense before the end of the year, as they are right now in points allowed in the top 3 and overall in the top 7. They'll be in the top 10. And that brings us to last night's game. The main reason that no lead is safe against the Knicks is because of defense. It's not because of offense. It's because of defense. Now, we're going to talk about Austin Rivers in a minute. And we're going to talk about, of course, a budding all-star that's turning into a real bona fide star in Julius Randle. We're going to talk about all that. But what we want to start talking about is where the game starts for us. Defense. The Knicks were down by 18. Okay? When I turned the game on, they were down 15. But they went on a 10-4 run. They made 4 straight stops and went on a 10-4 run to cut the lead to 12 by the half. Okay, defense. The second half, they started the half with like 4 straight stops and got it to tie. Okay, and from there it was over. Because they kept the defense up. Utah was being wore down, and it was on. See, usually, okay, in times past, Utah has 2 Knick killers on their team. 2 guys that always play good against the Knicks. One is Donovan Mitchell, who's obviously an all-star level player. And he goes off because he's from the area in New York. So he goes off. When he comes against the Knicks, he goes off, man. He got bottled up. And then there's this other guy that no matter what team he's on, he's been on the Lakers, he's been on Cleveland, and now he's on Utah. And every time he plays the Knicks, he has his best games, man. He has his best games against the Knicks, and he's always coming off the bench. And that's Jordan Carlson. And he always come off the bench, and he always have the best games against the Knicks. And he did go off last night, but it wasn't enough. Utah had just come off getting a beatdown from the Brooklyn Nets. And a good team, and they're a playoff team. A good team like that, they're not going to do that on back-to-back nights. They have 2 bad games. So I was concerned because I knew, and I told y'all, this is a big game for us because if we win this one, we can go on a little streak here. And so they came in like gangbusters. They came in to win, man. And they're a really good shooting team. Their core of Donovan Mitchell, Joe Ingles, and Rudy Gobert have been together for, as long as Donovan Mitchell's been in the league. So they've been together like 4 years now. That's their core pieces. They've been together. And then they had Bogdanovich. I get him confused with the other, but it's Bogdanovich they got from the Nets. They signed him a couple of seasons ago. So they have had, and then the guys, of course, they got a vet, in Mike Conley that we thought was going to be traded because of that $34 million salary, but he's playing good for them. Okay. And then they got some other players like Royce O'Neal that play, and Utah always plays good defense. They always play good defense. Okay. So we expected a game, and they came in and they brought it. But our defense will always keep us in games. We talked about that. And will help us come back. Getting stops is what help us come back. And the Knicks were very opportunistic last night. Getting a lot of steals. They didn't run a lot of fast breaks. I thought they'd run more. They got 12 points off fast breaks, whereas Utah got 22. I thought we'd be a little better than that, but we're still improving. The Knicks are still improving. We haven't reached the peak yet of what these team is going to be, which is kind of scary when you look at it. Yes, they beat a playoff team, but by now we should kind of expect that they could beat playoff teams, even though the media written this off because of our schedule. Remember, we were talking about how this is going to be good for our young Lions to get baptized in the fire with these playoff teams from the beginning of the season. Remember that? We did say that. And that's it. That's what's going on. And they're going to get better. And we beat down Milwaukee. Right? We were 1-1 against Indiana. Lost 1-1. And now here come Utah. We beat them. So yeah, we could beat playoff teams. We know that now. Okay. The young Lions know that now. And what's going on? They're getting confident. Now, some people were complaining because the Knicks did look a little gassed in the second quarter last night. They looked a little gassed, but it's not Tom Thibodeau running them into the ground. A lot of their players got nicked up. And one of the things Tom Thibodeau has a habit of doing, whether good or bad, is he don't like to play you if you can't go full tilt. He don't want to play you. He wants guys that are able to go 100%. Okay? And the Knicks have at least 6 players that are hurt. Okay? We know, we know Obi, he mentioned last night, Obi was reevaluated and he's making progress, but now he's going through the Thibodeau system protocol where he's ready to make his next step, but it doesn't sound like he's going to be back for another week or so. And of course, Alec Burke was reevaluated and his ankle must have been twisted pretty bad because he's out another 7 to 10 days before he can be reevaluated. And then if he's upgraded, then he goes through the protocol. You got those two guys. Frank Ntilikina has been out with this knee thing. I hope he comes back soon because we're gonna be able to. We need the bodies. Okay, we need the bodies. And the other night we played Atlanta, and I was wishing Frank could play that one because Frank has a habit of putting guards like Trae Young on lockdown. He's done it already. Trae Young don't want to see him, and neither does Stephen Curry want to see him. Okay, he puts those kind of guys on lockdown. And so I would like to see him. And next week we play Golden State. I think it is next week. No, it's the week after next. And so I'm hoping Frank is ready for that one because that's what you want to see on that. If you got a guy like Frank that you could put on some of these all-star caliber guards and put the lockdown on him, that's worth him right there. See, so that's another thing. But see, all of these guys are nicked up. They're hurt. And so that forces Tibbs to play what he did last night, 8 players. Okay, 8 players. What I like about it is Tibbs recognizes who has the hot hand. And not only does he recognize it, this team recognizes it. Okay? Now, Julius Randle, 30 points, 16 boards, 7 assists. Yeah, he had 5 turnovers again, but it's him passing the ball. He's playing at an all-star level. There is no doubt. And what I saw last night, Julius was gassed in that third quarter. He was tired. He played 41 minutes last night. Or 44 minutes. He played 40 plus minutes. So did Mitchell Robinson, by the way. And we'll get to him in a second. But he was tired. And he got fouled. The Knicks were on a run, though. And he got fouled. And you could see when he was coming to the line, he was tired. And I was thinking to myself, right here, see, it's that there's a certain point where a player goes, it's like you have a choice to go through the door to greatness. Okay? NBA, anybody that's playing in the NBA could play basketball. If you're in the NBA, if you're even TJ McConnell, if you're in the NBA, you could play basketball. Okay? Otherwise, you wouldn't be there. But when you are among the more talented of the NBA players, you have opportunity for greatness. Now, most players don't reach it. Okay, most players don't reach it. But there's barriers you got to break through to get there. One of the barriers is, are you willing to put the time in to become the best basketball player you can be? In other words, if you're Julius Randle, are you willing to learn how to play defense? Are you willing to learn how to pass the route? Are you willing to learn how to trust your teammates? Are you willing to lead by example? I did not expect all of this from him, and yet he's checked all those boxes. Okay, he's checked under Tom Thibodeau, he checked all those boxes. And why? Because either he was going to do it or he wasn't going to play. Okay? And that's what all the Knicks players were saying recently. They asked Elfrid Payton, under Tom Thibodeau, he said, as Tom said, it's his way or the highway. Either you do what he says or you don't play. He's not playing favorites. Like past coaches that we had. Either you do what he's telling you to do or you don't play. Well, Julius Randle decided, oh, no problem, I'm going to do everything you say. And he's done it. That's one level. Okay? The second level, which I'm seeing him go through now, is when you're tired. All the pressure's on you. You're now widely considered the man on your team. And your team is having success. And you're at a point in the game where you're gassed, you're tired, you're at your end, and the team needs you. When Julius Randle stepped to the line in the third quarter, that's where he was. He knocks down both the free throws. He comes back and he plays tough defense and gets tough rebound. And I thought to myself, he just walked through another door. That's the door that says, okay, I had the talent to become an all-star. Now I'm going to show you I'm an all-star. The next one is if the Knicks make the playoffs. That's the next door for him. Okay? The next one. He's now showing, with the pressure on him, he's a leader. He's leading by example. He's not just leading by his mouth. He's out there doing defense. He's out there doing it, passing. So his 5 turnovers, I don't care about at this point. When he's doing what he's doing as a leader of this team. Now, as a matter of fact, when he had to go out last night, he had to step out the game for a few minutes. He had to get a blow at some point. And they had, and Mitchell Robinson, I don't think Mitchell Robinson was in the game either at that point. I'm not sure, but they had 5 guys in there. And I was concerned. Now, those 5 guys more than held their own. I forgot who was all out there, but they more than held their own because they're well coached and they're prepared. I know Kevin Knox was out there. But I was concerned. Whereas in time past, when Julius left the game, I was happy because I knew the Knicks would play better with him off the floor. But last night I found myself being very concerned. When's Julius coming back? Because of how well he's playing. Now, Mitchell Robinson also. People were talking about he fouls too much. And I told y'all, young centers, young athletic centers, they come in the league like that, fouling. First of all, they're not going to get calls because they rookies or this first year, second year. And then they're athletic. They're going to have to learn the game because, and that's a typical thing. Y'all realize this is only Mitch's 3rd season, right? And he's already, just what we thought, he's in the conversation for all NBA defense. Last night he played against Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert, man, who had 5 blocks last night. And Mitchell Robinson outplayed him. Okay? He outplayed Ken Capella on Monday. Did work on Miles Turner last week. Mitchell Robinson's for real. I told y'all, this kid is special. Okay? And last night, he had 13 boards. He had 3 blocks. He can score about 9 points, but he don't need to score. When he needs to score, he will. Okay? And that's the thing also. With Thibodeau, it's not about people getting touches necessarily. It's about the team, the ball movement, and who's hot within that concept. So last night, Austin Rivers, Buttah came off the bench and started lighting it up. Buttah came off the bench and was killing. The Knicks recognized that, and that's why RJ did not play in the 4th quarter. He wasn't trying to bench RJ. The team was in a flow. The team was in a flow. And with that squad that was on the floor, flowing, you don't want to mess that up just to get RJ in the game. You keep it going. And it worked. Okay, it worked. RJ had 1 point in the first half. And I think he ended the game with 9. And he was like 2 of 14. It was not a good shooting night for RJ. But we also have to remember, RJ's still 20 in his 2nd year. And not only that, team's game plan for RJ Barrett. They have to game plan for RJ Barrett or he gonna kill you. And Utah's a good defensive team. So they were ready for RJ last night. Okay? They weren't ready for Buttah. That's why you have a Buttah. Even IQ did not have a good game, but he only played 5 minutes. It's just how the game was flowing. A good coach recognized the flow and stays with it because you trying to win. It's not like you don't care about you getting 5 minutes today or you benched in the 4th quarter. He's trying to win. And Buttah was flowing. Okay. And how that rally started, I said offered the stops the Knicks got, but I was surprised because I was wondering when Bullock was going to hit his shot. This guy's in there for defense and for spot up threes. That's why he's in the game. And he was not hitting his spot up 3. It started, he got a mid-range that he got to fall. And then the flow started on the defense and he knocked down 2 straight 3s. That's how this offensively we started getting going. Then Buttah came in and did his thing. Okay. And man, he ended the game with 23. Efficient 23. And you saw what was making me smile too. Julius Randle was looking for him. Like when they came down and Peyton, whoever would give the ball to Randle on the high post, he was looking for Buttah. And he would get the ball to Buttah. And a couple of those jump shots that Buttah hit, it was Julius Randle that was screening off his man. That warmed my heart, man. That's what I'm trying to say. This is a different player. We can't trade him. We can't trade him. Dr. Frankenstein done went in the lab and brought out an all-star, yo. Yes, he did. It is alive. That monster's alive. No, we can't trade him. No. We ain't don't trade Julius. There was some stupid article that was yesterday. Somebody talking about trade Julius Randle for Gary Harris of Denver in the first round. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? To solve our point guard problem. Maybe they don't know we got a point guard in IQ. Maybe they don't know that yet. You see what I'm saying? How national media, I mean, come on. For right now, the way Julius Randle is playing, he makes the all-star team. You got a 26-year-old power forward that's an all-star that can get you a daggone near triple-double every night. You know what I want for Julius Randle if I'm trading him to Denver? I want your first-round pick. I want Michael Porter Jr. That's what I want. Then we could talk. We could begin the conversation. Gary Harris? Seriously? No. Right now, the way Julius Randle is playing basketball, as people are comparing him to LeBron James. Now, come on now. He's not LeBron James, but I'm saying the numbers he's putting up are among the best in the league right now. He's playing at a level that, as far as power forwards in the NBA, he's got to be considered in the top 5 because he's the way he's playing. Okay. So there's only a handful of players at this moment that you would talk about with Julius Randle because of the way he's playing. That's giving you near triple-double every night and giving you a chance to win every game against any team. So that, Gary Harris, you gotta be kidding me. No. Mm-mm. So, yeah. And then Mitchell Robinson, under control, playing with IQ, blocking shots and altering others, running the floor. Yeah. There you go. Okay. Now, I tell you what though. We don't win this game last night if Elfrid Payton doesn't get 20. And one other thing teams have been doing, if you notice, started from the beginning. Once they realize the Knicks are not shooting the 3 ball well, what they do? They go into a zone. Utah, being a smart team, having scouted the Knicks, they went into a zone. But what we saw also is the Knicks respond. See, the Knicks have lost 4 straight against Utah. They've lost 4 straight against Utah over the last 2 seasons and gotten blown out most of those. And one of the reasons that the Knicks lost, one of the several reasons that the Knicks lost 4 straight against Utah over the last 2 seasons is because our coaches were getting out-coached by the Utah coach. Okay? And in fact, between Fizdale and Jeff Hornacek, oftentimes our coaches will get out-coached, by our opponent's coach. Not now. And that coach on Utah is good. That dude could coach now. Okay. They lost Jerry Sloan, who was a great coach, and they replaced him with this cat who was a great coach. They've had some great coaches, in between that two in Utah. They really know how to pick them. So this guy could coach. Snyder could coach. And, he wasn't out coaching Thibodeau. So the Knicks figured out teams are going to zone them. And what have they done? They used Elfrid Payton to break the zone. You say, well, what? Elfrid Payton? Yes, not by shooting threes. Elfrid Payton attacks the creases in the zone. And he does it very well. He was attacking the creases in that zone. Either he was getting to the hole or he was kicking it somebody who was kicking it again and causing that ball movement to start for somebody to get an open shot. And even last night when they were doing that, they weren't hitting a lot because a lot of times the open shot shooter was either Payton himself or like RJ, who wasn't hitting the broadside of a barn last night. So they were not knocking him down, but they were getting good shots. See, that's the thing. That's what Thibodeau said is true. If you get good shots, eventually they're going to fall. The Knicks shot, I want to say they shot like 36% from 3, which is league average. They held Utah to like 32, or under last night because they're the number 1 defensive 3-point perimeter defensive team in the league right now. Okay. Number 1. Okay. So that's going to keep us in ball games. So Elfrid Payton was hitting the creases, getting to the hole last night. That's why he scored 20. I don't think he hit a 3-pointer last night. I have to look at that. I don't think he hit a 3-pointer, but he was getting to the basket and giving them the business. And of course he played good defense as well. So, what Thibodeau said is true. Everybody has to be in shape to play, and everybody can get opportunity. So we have a lot of players that's hurt, but his philosophy is next man up. And these guys showed out. Buttah came, Peyton ready to play, Julius is ready to play, Mitchell ready to play. Okay, I was surprised Bullock was there because they said that he had I forgot what nick he had, but he was questionable. They put him to questionable for last night's game, and I thought Kevin was going to start in this place, but he ended up playing. So next man up, So that was a big win for us because beating Utah after winning against at Atlanta last Monday sets us up for what's coming. So now we got OKC coming to town tomorrow. Now, OKC is, even though all they really have is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they playing very well. They are. I don't know who that coach is that replaced Billy Donovan, but he's doing a good job because they're playing very well. I watched the game. I scouted them not last night. Was it last night? Or the night before last? Anyway, I scouted them against, they played the Pelicans. And the Pelicans are pretty stacked. I mean, they got Zion, they got Ingram, they got Lonzo, they got Hart, they got they got a good squad now, the Pelicans. And Oklahoma City beat them in New Orleans, beat them. Okay, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's rough. This guy, I think his name is Baisley or something like that. He's good. And then, of course, they got the kid that came to his own last summer, Dort. He's a defensive genius, man. He's a demon on defense. So they got a good squad. And they got some Cat Muscala also that's shooting the lights out. So, I don't want to take them lightly. But the Knicks should win this game. This is a game the Knicks should win. Oklahoma City is playing better than I expected, but they're not a playoff team. They still need, they traded away all the playoff pieces they had and got draft picks. And they got draft picks for years, as we know. But we should beat this team. So I don't know who's going to be available Friday, because the Knicks, got a lot of beat up players. But I'm hoping, we get some of them back. We're not going to get Burks back, it sounds like. We're not going to get Obi back, it sounds like. We should have Frank back. And hopefully we have Nerlens Noel back. We were missing him last night as well because that's what made Julius have to play so many minutes. Nerlens Noel couldn't go. So hopefully we get Nerlens back for Friday and we get Frank back for Friday. And that would add to we already got 8. That gives us 10 right there. So now we have 10, a rotation of 10. That will help us a lot because, that way, Julius doesn't have to play 40 minutes. That way, Mitchell doesn't have to play 40 minutes. That way, RJ doesn't have to play 40 minutes. Believe it or not, it's a big difference between, 33, 35 minutes and 40 minutes. That extra 6 minutes of rest is very big. So if you can play Julius, say 35 minutes and play RJ like 32, right? And play Mitchell like 30, 32 and then let these other guys come in and give them some blow. That's really a big difference, especially, each game is a big difference and over the long term. So we should win this game against OKC. And I'm telling you, we play Denver on Sunday at home. And I'm telling you right now, I think Denver's overrated. They're not as good as they were last year. They really are missing, Grant. They're really missing Jeremy Grant. They have not been able to make up for his loss yet. They still got Murray, a high level player. And of course they got the Joker, who is, the Joker. But the Nick killer on Denver is Will Barton. Y'all should, if you watch the Knicks for a couple of years, Chill Will is the Nick killer on that team. And I think he's starting now in place of Grant. Now, he's not the defender. He's not the player that Jeremy Grant is. And so they're underrated. They're overrated right now. They're not playing no defense. They're really not. And so, we should win that game. That's what I'm saying. This game last night against Utah should start us on a little streak. We should win that game. We should win this game against OKC, and we should win that game Sunday against Denver. We should. Playing the way we're playing right now with that defense that Tom has them playing. The next big test to me is the second game on Monday against Charlotte, which is a back-to-back, and it's on the road in Charlotte. And then, if they can win that, it'd be hard pressed to beat Brooklyn next Wednesday. And I know we want them to beat Brooklyn because we hate Brooklyn, but they'll be hard pressed to beat Brooklyn next Wednesday. I wouldn't be surprised if they get beat in Brooklyn next Wednesday after coming off the streak. Because, it's just they got to lose sometime. They're not going to go 72-0. But, I'm expecting a tough game against Brooklyn on next Wednesday. So I'm looking way ahead. But I want them to beat OKC this Friday, Denver Sunday, and then gut out a win, with the defense against Charlotte on the following Monday. That's why I'm hoping we get 10 guys ready to play, in these contests. We're going to need everybody. Okay, but very good win last night. The stops is what gets us back in games. Getting the stops gets us back in games. Because those stops, 3 in a row, 4 in a row, wears the opponent down. It wears the opponent down. Plus, our guys are in shape and ready to play. And, of course, we're well coached. So, another good win for the Knicks last night. We 5-3. They have won 5 of their last 6. We're on a pretty good roll right now. And so we can really start something. Next stop is OKC. I would not see the game Friday, but I will see the replay on Saturday night and be able to give a commentary on that after that, maybe Sunday. Okay. But until then, please stay safe. Be careful out there. Some crazy things going on in our world right now. And be safe, be healthy. Shalom.